talk about training and some different aspects of training. Most people start exercising activity with a goal in mind. It might be that on one end of the spectrum or one aspect is I know that being active is going to improve my health and fitness and my longevity, help me to live better and longer. That is really, really great goals. I would say more people kind of approach someone like me for coaching, personal training, coming to a boot camp or whatever that is, with more of a body composition type goal in mind. Want to lose some weight, want to look better, and as a byproduct, feel better in terms of fitness, but also feel better about themselves, self-esteem, confidence, all that sort of thing. Now, obviously, from the last couple of years, there's been different barriers to that in terms of exercise and things like that, and different factors have come into play. Some people have used the time with the lockdowns and things like that to focus more on health and fitness and getting that consistent time because there wasn't the travel to do and all that sort of thing. And on the other side, other people didn't have the motivation, didn't have the facilities, all that sort of thing. So lots of people at different places right now, a bit more kind of, I think if you are proactive and motivated, the opportunities have been there more so. But even more people kind of feeling now, I actually do what I can go back to the gym. A lot more people vaccinated, a lot more. The Omicron variation is seemingly causes less issues for a short amount of time for people. So that kind of normality of routine is returning as well. And an aspect of training I want to talk about just to highlight is actually it is only a part of what you need to do. The nutrition side, which we talk about a lot, is fundamental to any sort of change you want to make, even in terms of just your health and fitness. Yes, you will improve your health and fitness with steady cardiovascular exercise. That's recommended. That's what's recommended by the government and lots of different bodies in terms of advice is to be active, walking, running, whatever that is, to improve your heart and lung function and to keep your general physiology working that bit better. The other aspect that goes hand in hand with that is looking at your nutrition, what you take in, and paradoxically, you don't need to do much more activity than you already do to change your body composition. But it's much more like for someone to start doing activity and think about the nutrition second. The nutrition probably more fundamental, definitely for body composition, and also good on the health and fitness side as well. If you start adding more activity, you want to be able to you're going to need more energy coming in, or the right sort of things coming in to give you energy to do those things, and have that overall benefit as well to your health and fitness. So, what going forward with this is that actually the two tend to go hand in hand. It's quite hard psychologically to go, do you know what, I'm just going to eat better. But if you are eating better or changing your nutrition based on goals, based on activity, the two actually marry up quite nicely and they go well together. The opposite is also true. Certainly it has been in my experience for myself, is that if I'm not able to train or do activity, then my nutrition probably is not going to be as good either. It's almost had to work on it not being just like I'm either all in or out. I'm either all in with two aspects, the activity, the training, and the nutrition, or I'm not for whatever reason, busy life, injury, whatever it is. If I'm not active, I'm not training, then I struggle on the nutrition side in the sense of the two do marry up quite nicely for most of us in terms of our mindset towards them. That being said, there is a whole spectrum of activity on one end, being active, to what I call exercise, and then into training in terms of what sort of activities that you're doing, what sort of training that you're doing. And on the kind of training end of the spectrum, I would say that consistent gym or home workout, probably with weights, looking at higher intensity things, exercise in the middle, good paced, active, heart rate raising, walking, running, cycling, other things like that, swimming, where you're being active, and then on to just being active, getting out for a walk because it's good for you, and thinking about actually what this is going to just contribute to my overall energy use during the day. We might track steps or something like that. Just a bit of a spectrum across from fairly low intensity, bit more intense, but within kind of capacity and quite repeatable, to more intense sort of exercise training, working out in the gym. Maybe it's something like a modality like CrossFit, can be quite intense, things like that. And we need to kind of have those things in the right kind of place. There's a place for all of them, in a sense, for everybody. Now, one person's high intensity is going to be someone else's just exercise, just depending on age, how active they have been, how fit they are in the first place. But the idea would be potentially to make things more intense over time, or you find something that you enjoy, it's a lifestyle, you keep doing that. And at different times you might do something that stretches you, is more intense, a little bit more. So say if you are someone that walks a lot and you're out for regular walks, but then you might take on something that's a bit longer or a bit go more elevation, up more hills on one particular weekend or whatever. That's the kind of stretch we're talking about. It's just going to increase it's going to be just above what you'd normally do. So that's going to be a bit of a stretch. That's going to actually cause what we would call a stimulus, a change in the body. So on the one side, we've got our general activity. Kind of in the middle of the spectrum, we've got exercise, which is both are good for us. Exercise is more about the health and fitness, and there's going to be a good energy usage from that, which is going to contribute to body composition goals and generally staying fit, active, and living longer, being more healthy for a longer period of time through our lives. And on the other end, we've got the intense training, working out in the gym, all that sort of thing. So on that spectrum, depending on at what point it kind of transitions from being less intense to more intense for you, that's going to also be a factor when then we start to think about how much do we need to do and the recovery and the knock-on effects. Now, someone who is really, really into the gym, someone who is maybe training 5 or 6 days a week, where the gym is the absolute passion, lifestyle is, you will find them any given evening, morning, whatever it is, they'll be at the gym. They go on holiday, they'll be looking for a way to keep on training, that sort of thing. They love it that much, then they're going to be working out often. The factor they would need to think about, and that's why the different training days come in, where what we would call do a split of workouts, so splitting it up, is you can't train at a super high intensity across all the different muscles every single day. They'll be splitting it up into different ways. Now, the factor they've got is the recovery and rotating around again. So they're probably going to be able to eat a lot more and still be in a deficit if they're wanting to reduce their body fat, change their body composition to get leaner, or they're in a phase potentially where they're adding muscle, so they're going to be eating more and actually be in a surplus. So they're going to have lots of a positive energy intake, an intake that is above their actual needs because they're trying to add more muscle. So also they're working hard and intensely for that. What the people on that end of the spectrum kind of know is that the training itself is a stimulus, and what they're doing the rest of the time in terms of the nutrition and recovery and being ready to train again is really important. And I think down, if we come just down from that into the exercise and section, where you're doing something of a moderate to slightly higher intensity, depending on how long you've been doing it, how fit you are in the first place, then in that sort of area, we often go for the more is better aspect of training to do more than maybe is necessary, and maybe we're trying to do that more often, quite intense, so 6, 7, 8 out of 10 intensity. Actually, it's going to be detrimental to keep on trying to repeat that too many times a week. So that's where we start to need to look at this factor called minimal effective stimulation. What is the least you can do to stimulate the change that you want, so you've still got time to recover? And another factor for most of the people that I work with is the rest of their life has also got to function well. So if your workouts are high frequency and high intensity, and that's going to, and probably quite a short space of time, unless your nutrition's really, really good, really spot on, you're getting enough in, you're getting the right things in all the time, you've got the time to do that, then other aspects of your life are going to suffer. Your tiredness, being able to look after the kids, being able to do your job well, being able to maintain relationships well because you've got enough energy to do that. So there is a point where doing more is not going to always be better. Looking at what's the kind of right level for what you want to achieve, and then working all aspects in together. Sessions that are the right sort of length, the right sort of intensity, including the right sort of things. So things that you enjoy, and sometimes maybe things that are a bit more challenging that maybe you don't enjoy to start with, and then you get into because you get better at them and you start to enjoy them. And being able to factor in recovery in terms of time before the next time you try to do that workout or that style of training, and also the nutrition as well. Always keep coming back to that because it is so fundamental. So we've got to factor those things in. So we're looking at minimal effective stimulation. Now, up on the kind of high end in the training end, there's definitely a move now away from lots of exercises, sets, volume of workouts, because there is that kind of, there's a science and a kind of realization, like a lot of things, it's cyclical, of coming around to say, actually, you want a really high intensity for less exercises and potentially less times per week, and focus on the recovery and the nutrition is actually more beneficial than trying to go to the gym most days, doing different body parts, looking at doing more because this aspect of a physique is not where I want it, or adding more activity, more training because I've gone through the muscle building phase, now I want to get lean again, so I'm just going to add more to it. It's about being sensible with it, about being scientific with it a little bit, and that a bit like in motorsport, Formula One, when the people at the kind of pinnacle of that field are developing new things, then the trickle down of knowledge, and in that case engineering, is benefits everybody else. So that understanding that nutrition is really key if you are up there training intensely as a bodybuilder, then that trickle down is actually, do what, we're going to get the nutrition right pretty much for whatever aspect we're trying to do. That's kind of becoming, hopefully, quite common knowledge. And then the training on top of that is to complement that. So if you're in a calorie deficit, the activity and exercise that you should do probably should include some resistance-based training to maintain your muscle mass function. Because when you're in a deficit, you're not going to build more muscle, and you want to stimulate the muscle to remain, to stay, because it's got a reason to be there, because you are using it, rather than it getting broken down to fuel the energy gaps. So we want the energy gaps to be fueled from your fat stores. That's tissue that's not really doing very much other than sitting in your body. Stimulate the muscles. The body's going to want to keep them because it's like, I need these muscles. If you then, so therefore, I will go to the other available tissue that is available for energy that I need to use. I'm going to use the fat stores. So we're using exercise to stimulate change. The exercise itself is what you actually use to exercise and to train is going to come down to personal preference, convenience. I run a boot camp where most people come 3 times a week, spread out across the week, mostly with a day off in between, or at least 24 hours between sessions. And because of the nature of the session, most people, it's, for some it's quite a high intensity because they're just starting out. For some, they maintain the intensity because they increase the weight that we're using, they increase the effort that they're making with different exercises. Whether if it's a slightly more cardio based, they're doing shuttles, they're going to be going that little bit quicker than they were a few weeks ago when they might have started, or after restarting again after Christmas, after we had a Christmas break. So the fitness is improving. So they're maintaining that intensity, but it is a slightly lower intensity than just all out weights workout or all out conditioning workout. So it's repeatable and able to be keeping on going. And that's a key part of it as well, because for most of the people that come to the boot camp, it's body composition and fitness goals, and actually the general activity right down the other end of the scale, moving around, steps, general movement is as important. If the sessions were so hard, which for some people when they start off they do find this, that aching muscles, things like that, but if the activity is the general activity away from the training is pushed right down because of the soreness, because the intensity is so high, then actually and overall going to be using up less energy from their general energy usage day to day. For them, NEAT, the non-exercise activity thermogenesis, is going to go down, and therefore actually, although they're training hard 3 times a week, the overall energy usage has gone down. So really we should bring the calories down even more, which is not fun for anyone. It's nice to be able to eat a nice amount of food and things like that and still work towards your goals. So that's why getting the exercise intensity right, and that intensity can go up over time, or seemingly the intensity can go up over time as someone gets fitter, stronger, and able to do more, build up their capacity. We want to kind of keep that at the right place, dependent on the person, and still keep them being able to be active and function well in the rest of their life. That is really, really important. For most people, I'd say the majority of people, exercise and training is something that they do because it's good for them and it's working towards their goals. It's not their whole life passion outside of work or whatever. It is an aspect they are choosing to prioritize, but it's not their only priority. It might come into the top 5 or 6 for some people, and that's absolutely fine. It's going to be up there top 1, 2, 3 because they're trying to achieve something in that field, either as a coach or a personal trainer or competing or something like that. It's getting it that in the right place, and that's probably a good guide then to the intensity as well of what you need to do. Everyone needs to do something on the scale in terms of activity, exercise and training. It's getting it into the right place, the right intensity, so it is you can recover from it and repeat it with the right frequency. I am a bit of a kind of training geek, in a sense, a focus on the top end for my own interest, and also to kind of simplify it and bring it down to the level that is useful for more people. So that's why we're talking about minimal effective stimulus, minimal effective amount you need to do, because the bar might look like it needs to be set really, really high, but actually you've probably seen the kind of diagram, the meme before, where it says change happens outside of the comfort zone. That comfort zone is relative to the person and where their comfort zone is in the first place. Raising their heart rate for 5 minutes, doing maybe part of my boot camp or whatever, is going to be getting out of their comfort zone. It doesn't need to be kind of out of the comfort zone for 20-25 minutes consistently pushing the envelope of what they've done before during a weights workout. It's all relative, and it's all has value, for anyone. As long as that there is that kind of stimulus we were talking about, then it's going to drive change if the other aspects are enveloped in and working well together. So get the training intensity right, add the nutrition in the right places to it as well, and you'll be able to slowly, sustainably, consistently work towards your goals, whilst also hopefully keeping a good balance to life and being able to enjoy food, different food that maybe, in inverted commas, might not be ideal if you were in this top category, training for whatever you want to train for, top end, then they're probably less likely to want to fit something into their nutrition at the weekend, but it all can be done. So don't think that more is better. Get a nice balance between how often you train, how intensely you train, being able to recover and repeat at whatever interval works well for you, and then build everything else around it. Keep active on the bottom end of the scale. Exercise and training up here for change and improving health and fitness, keeping the heart and lungs healthy, keeping muscles working, keeping mobility and flexibility and good movement in your body, helping towards longevity, and then getting that intensity in the right place to recover and repeat, as I say. If you have any questions or are wondering, is it intense enough what I'm doing right now, then please drop me a comment or send me a message or an email at mark@mwfitness.net. Always happy to talk through and help and suggest and guide you, support you in the right sort of way.
Thank you for listening to the Always Moving Forward podcast. You can find more information about MW Fitness at www.mwfitness.net, and all our links to social media are there too.